say I'm a CEO and refuse to market and refuse to sell and refuse to adapt, I don't help the people. I don't have the impact. And so my legacy is being affected. So we don't want to build businesses in such a way that it will cost us our legacy. I have really been looking forward to getting to part 5 of this series, my focus for 2026, right? This is so powerful because we are going to talk about prioritizing your priorities, okay? And the reason why I've been looking forward to this is because business is not an end in itself. Granted, I talk about it a lot and all of that, but I'm very clear that it's a vehicle. I'm very clear that it's a means to an end. It's not an end in itself. And so when we build businesses, we want to build them in such a way that they allow us to do what we really want to do. Now, one of the things that, after looking at entrepreneurship, looking at entrepreneurs, especially the later part of their lives, after interviewing a lot, after exploring where I would want to be at the end of my life, I have come to the conclusion that business, when treated as an end, leads to a lot of pain and suffering. When it's treated as a vehicle, it creates this beautiful life. And so every business is a vehicle that allows you to serve a lot of people. It allows you to create financial freedom for yourself, and it allows you to create time freedom for yourself. So I want you to think about this for a second. You build a business. You hear me talk a lot about, taking your business to 7 figures, multiple 7 figures, 8 figures, all of this kind of stuff. Yeah, great. But it's not the numbers, right? And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the numbers. We live in an economic world and business is an economic sport, right? But at the same time, the more wonderful thing about that is that in order to pull that off, you have to serve a lot of people. In order to pull that off, you will create financial freedom as a quote unquote side effect if you do it properly, if you do it strategically. And you also create time freedom for yourself. And that time freedom now opens up the doors for so many different things. So I want you to think about what this spells. When you think about impacting a lot of people, financial freedom, time freedom, for me, it spells one thing, which is legacy, right? Because what is your legacy going to be? Your legacy is going to be the people whose lives you touch. So this is outside of your family. So whatever you are called to. And so as a private practice doctor, it could be to that community and the shift you make in the health of your patients and in the community at large. If you are like, for me, I run an education firm. That's what EntreMD is. And my legacy would be the people that I changed and how we work to shift the narrative for physicians everywhere and all of those things. So we're talking impact, right? So serving a lot of people gives you this opportunity to have an impact, which is legacy, right? Having financial freedom puts you in a position where you're leaving a legacy of abundance as opposed to a legacy of debt, where you're able to leave an inheritance for your children, for your children's children. And people will consider the Bible a moral book, right? And it's about being meek and humble and things like that. And in it, one of the teachings is that a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And so it's what you're able to leave them. It's the philanthropy you're able to do. It's the good you're able to use money to create in the world. Now, of course, taking care of yourself and all of that stuff, right? And so when you think about it, what does it boil down to again? Legacy, right? And then when you think about time freedom is like the boss of all bosses, because what time freedom does is that it makes it possible for you to then live out your purpose, like why you truly think you're here. What it does is it allows you the time to invest in your family, right? And yes, there's a part of it that's memories. There's a part of it that's training. There's a part of it that's leaving them skills, right? Like leaving our children money is powerful. Leaving our children with the things that made us who we are so they can go on to create their own masterpiece life. That is everything. That is so much more valuable than any amount of money that you can leave them. In fact, for my family, and I say family now because I'm the first of 4 children, right? I have 3 siblings, and between us, there are 12 grandchildren. And, of course, you guys know Makita, and Makita's son is like my 5th child. Okay. So between them, there are 13 people. And I will tell you what I've done. Now we've done this for about 9 weeks. We've created what we call the Commonwealth. And every Tuesday, I would get all of them together. They're from the ages of 3 all the way up to 17. And we would get together, and I'm teaching them on how to coach yourself, how to regulate your mind, how to be aware of what you're thinking, how to spot limiting beliefs and the kinds of thoughts to replace them with. I'm teaching them on how to set goals. I'm teaching them on like how to think, the practice of gratitude, appreciating being part of a community, like all amazing things that I had to learn. And so I am taking the things that are working for me, that are making a difference in my life, and I'm installing it in them. Now, to do that, you need time, right? You need time. So, and then it allows you to curate your whole life. So, when I teach about your life and having it all, I teach about all 9 areas of life, right? So, there's spiritual, there's family, there's legacy, there's health, there's finances, there's business. These two are separate. There's fun, there's social capital, there's intellectual development. So, there are 9 areas of life. And if you're going to think like an architect, right? And map out what it could look like if it was a masterpiece and start building that, it takes time. It takes time. And so what is needed for you to create your legacy is also time. So imagine thinking about your business, not just as this thing you have to go do and work in and learn marketing and go through the school of hard knocks, which you don't have to. There's EBS now, there's EntreMD Business School, right? And, like all these things I have to do. Well, what if you see it as the vehicle that allows you leave this legacy? And it could be a legacy that has global impact. I want you to think about it for a second, right? Like when I think about my businesses, so I have 5 of them, but let's think about my private practice on EntreMD. What are these 2 businesses doing? They are giving me the opportunity to serve so many people through my practice, through EntreMD. Like when I think about it, all the people I impact on social media, through my books, through my workshops. We just concluded a workshop last week, right? Through this podcast, through our YouTube channel, through the Profitable Private Practice Movement, through the EntreMD Business School, and all of so many lives, right? What is this part of my legacy play? You have no idea how much it warms my heart when someone is like, I started my practice because I started listening to your podcast and all of these things. Or like today was such a fun day. I wake up in the morning, I do all the things I do. It's time for me to go into the EntreMD Business School Facebook group. I get there and the doc is just like, I have a win. I'm going to share it on Wednesday. I was going to share it on Wednesday, but I can't wait till Wednesday. Like I just looked at my bank account and I saw a 1 and 6 zeros, right? Like she had her first $1 million year and it was just so fun to see, right? So this is legacy. And for your business, it's the same, right? Or, the doctors in Scale, which is a tier of the EntreMD Business School for doctors who are at or dangerously close to $1 million in revenue, and the results they're creating, it's just so wild. Like they're building buildings and hiring doctors and hiring office managers and taking, like 8 weeks off. Like a doc in there hits 7 figures in revenue and took 8 weeks off. She's like, is this too many weeks? I'm like, girl, you did 8 weeks out of $1 million. That's cool. Let's do 8 weeks off and add another $1 million to that next year. How about that, right? That's legacy. That's legacy, right? And so the work itself is a legacy play. And then the financial freedom it gives, now you can give at an unbelievable capacity, and you can invest and you can put away money and you can create memories for your family and all of those kind of things, which are things I'm able to do, which is so mind-boggling. And then the time, right? So again, I told you about the Commonwealth, and then I'm able to homeschool my kids. And my daughter has a 1 month off of school. I was like, you want to do a business course? She said, yeah. I was like, okay, go work with mommy in the business. Let's do some things, right? And it's all time. It's all time. It's amazing. And so the reason I'm taking the time to explain this is because when you want to build your business, you want to build it in such a way that it honors your priorities. Like if you are building your business in such a way that you cannot have a legacy because there's no integrity, because you're promising people stuff you will not deliver on. I'm not talking about you getting better. Like you intentionally are giving them things that you've never done, you've never helped anybody do. You're literally making this stuff up. If you're building your business in that way, you're like, no, I cannot give up on the impact I can have in people's lives, right? This is also the reason why you say, I cannot build a business, say I'm a CEO, and refuse to market, and refuse to sell, and refuse to adapt. Because if I don't help the people. So I don't have the impact. And so my legacy is being affected. So we don't want to build businesses in such a way that it will cost us our legacy. So whether that's we're doing the things we shouldn't do or we aren't doing the things that need to be done. Also, if you're building your business and you're building it in such a way that it can't be profitable, it can't make money, it's like the house way because we have a legacy we're going off. And the legacy includes impacting the lives of others, time freedom and financial freedom, right? And so we have to go like, okay, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do this. And if I'm going to do this, these are the things that need to happen. This is why in the EntreMD Business School, we prioritize talking about revenue. Like we literally have what we call RevCon every month where we come and we're like, okay, what is your revenue goal for this quarter? Where are you right now? What's the obstacle in your way? Let's go. Because literally, I could have called it Show Me the Money. Right? But I didn't call it that. I called it RevCon. And then let's talk about this. Why? Because it's your legacy. If you're going to work that hard on a business, let's make it work, right? So that's the reason we prioritize that. That's the reason why we have so many challenges that are around asking. We have askathons, right? Because behind that is the dollars. That's why we are so big on hiring team profitably. Why? Because we don't want your profit margins to disappear because you hire people. So yes, we will show you how to lead your team. We will show you how to cast vision. We will show you how to hire rock stars. We will show you how to lead them because these are things that need to happen. Why? Because part of your legacy is financial freedom and what financial freedom allows you to do financially, right? Okay. That's also the reason why when you're building a business, you want to build it in such a way that, yes, in the beginning, it might cost you a lot of time. That's not a problem. But the building you're building, the business you're building needs to be built in such a way that the higher you go, the more time you get off. The higher you go, the more in control of your time you are. Why? It's part of the legacy. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it's part of the legacy. That's the reason why I want you to get this concept. I want you to get this concept. So let me tell you what's on my mind all the time as I work on my business. Impact. I want to help as many people as possible and not just randomly helping people, right? Like I am very clear that the purpose of this business is to rewrite the narrative for physicians where when you think about burnout, loss of autonomy, struggling businesses, self-sacrifice, all of these things, these are words that describe a physician. And I need to do my job until we get to the point where these are weird words. Like people are like, man, people used to live like this back in the day, right? Where we get to a point where you see a 7-figure, multi-7-figure, 8-figure, 9-figure business, and it's a physician running it. You look at the leaders in healthcare, and it's physicians. You look for the most dominant voices, and it's our voices, right? You look at the insurance companies, big pharma, and all of that stuff, they would have been tamed by physicians. Now, in order to do that, we have to be empowered, right? We have to change. So every podcast episode, every program, the Profitable Private Practice Movement, EntreMD, all of that stuff, that's what it's about. That's what it's about. So when I'm thinking about I'm thinking impact. When I'm thinking about, I'm thinking financial freedom, right? Financial freedom. When I think about, I'm thinking time freedom. These three things can coexist. I have been an entrepreneur for 15 years, and every single year I have grown in my capacity to have these three things: big impact, financial freedom, time freedom. Right? And so when I talk to doctors, a lot of times what comes up is, I don't want to grow my business big because if I do it, one is I don't think I'm the kind of person who can do it. Two is if I do it, then I'm going to lose all my time. I have to give up my time to do that. And it's going to need a big team. But if I hire the team to do that, then I won't get paid anything. And I'm like, no, this is the whole reason why we exist, because you can have all three. And I have all three, and my clients are growing day by day in their capacity to have all three. So we get people constantly celebrating revenue milestones that they hit, whether that is 6 figures, multiple 6 figures, 7 figures, multiple 7 figures. And I got a text from somebody who is working on 9 figures, and I cannot wait. Okay. So we get texts, and they're all physicians doing the thing. You know, I see my clients go like, oh, I've never taken 2 weeks off. I've never taken 5 weeks off. I've never taken 8 weeks off. I've never taken 12 weeks off. And boom, they're taking it. Where they're like, oh, I had a number of them who are like, oh, Dr. Edwin talks about this. He's talked about it openly. And he says, you know, I wanted to visit. My dad is getting up there in age, and I wanted to visit him every quarter. And he has visited him every quarter for years. Now we're in years, plural, right? Every quarter, just goes down to Florida, go sees that. What is that time freedom? I had another doc who went on a girlfriend trip, then an anniversary trip with her husband, then solo trip with her daughter, all this stuff. And at the end of the day, took 8 weeks off, still brought $1 million in. They're growing in their capacity. Why am I telling you that? I am telling you that because I want you to give up this notion that you have to give up financial freedom or give up time freedom in order to have impact. You can have all three. But in order to do that, one area of focus for you must be your priorities. You must prioritize your priorities. Let me show you how expensive sometimes this thing can be, right? If I did not focus in EntreMD and decide to build this, because remember, this is not my first business. My first business is my private practice. If I did not focus on building that practice in such a way that I could have a lot of impact, financial freedom, and time freedom, guess what would have happened? I would have had no time or the financial freedom to do EntreMD. Now let's look at the opportunity cost of that. If I didn't have the time to do that, one is that I would never have become this person that I am right now, right? Because I've had to change a lot to do this, right? And there would have been no EntreMD podcast. All the stuff I do on social media wouldn't have existed. There would have been no EntreMD Live. There would have been no profitable private practice movement that's serving hundreds of doctors. We just had a doctor on there talk about 3xing her revenue while still working part-time. She did not change her hours, but she's earning 3 times as much. Hello, right? Okay, she's serving hundreds of doctors. And the EntreMD Business School that has produced physicians that will blow your mind, an EBS skill that is building a generation of doctors that, mark my word, 3 to 5 years from now, it would be unbelievable, even to me, where they will be. And I know where they're going. I know what they're setting themselves up for, but I know I'm still going to get there and go like, wow. And I can't wait, right? Okay, so all of these things, the requirements for them was financial freedom and time freedom. And if I didn't do those two, I would have been fresh out of luck. And think about all the lives that this business has touched, and it wouldn't have been able to touch them because I didn't do time freedom and financial freedom. So that's the whole point, right? So the idea is build your business in such a way that is a vehicle that allows you to leave a big legacy. If you don't get anything else out of this episode, I'll build your business in such a way that it is a vehicle. Your business is a vehicle. It is a system. It's a financial system. It is a system of impact and finances, all this stuff. It is a system. Build it in such a way that it allows you have a large legacy of lives touched, of financial freedom, of time freedom, so you could build a masterpiece life. This is why you hear us talk about the dream business and the dream life. They go together. We're building them concurrently. In the EntreMD Business School, I'm like, we're building them concurrently. We're not waiting to build this business and then we build the life. We're building both of them, which means you have to play by different rules. You don't get to do what everybody else is doing because everybody else does not have the dream business and the dream life. The normal thing is the dream business that causes you to lose your family and lose your fitness and lose the things that matter to you. But if you want this dream business and dream life, then this is the way to go. So in the EntreMD Business School, right, whether the doctors in it are aware or not, every time they ask me a question and I answer the question, I have this in mind. Every time that they're crossroads and they're wondering, should I do this or this? I help them analyze that through this lens. It's always through this lens because I'm like, you don't want to build a business that you're going to hate. You don't want to get to the top of the building and go like, what in the world? How did I get here? We don't want that. We want to build businesses that we love. So because of that, I'll show you some things, like 4 things we really focus on in the EntreMD Business School. The first is making that transition from physician to physician CEO. Because if you don't understand how to manage your time, if you don't have time mastery, you cannot have time freedom. Period. End of story. You cannot have time freedom if you don't master time. We spend time. We have a tool called the CEO calendar that we work on. We show them how to tweak it. We show them how to tweak it. In fact, I am meeting with the doctors in EBS Scale and I'm breaking down like this is the exact framework that I use to manage my time. And this is what I'm going to use over the next 12 months, right? You have to know how to use your time. You have to know how to set goals, and not just goals for business, but goals for every aspect of your life, and not just random goals to like, oh, let's just set this. No, you don't understand how to tap into what you really want and become the architect of a life that is a masterpiece for you and in your eyes. So these are not things that are going to fall on us. These are things that we're going to learn. These are things that we're going to pay the price to learn. The other thing we focus on is building a dominant brand. Because if you don't have a dominant brand, especially in this time when noise is at an all-time high, right? If we do not have dominant brands, then guess what? There is no universe where we're able to have as much impact as we could. So sometimes people are like, oh, Dr. Una, you don't need to market. Everybody knows you. Everybody does not know me. There are a million physicians. There are a million physicians. Everybody does not know me. Not even close. Right? And so I have my work cut out for me. So I'm building a dominant brand. I'm showing my clients how to build dominant brands. They're building dominant brands. They're using their platforms and their brands to influence society and influence the audience that they're called to and all of those things. But we got to learn to do it. Oh, I'm shy. It's not a problem. I was shy. We can work through that. I'm an introvert. Doesn't matter. I'm an introvert. We can work with that. I don't know what to say. No problem. I will show you how to tap into a reservoir you have on the inside of you already. You can never run out of content. You have so much content dripping out of you, you just can't see it. This is our job. This is what we do in the business school. The third thing we look at is the revenue generation framework. This is a framework that we run reps around. And we run reps around it because this is the deal. If you don't have the financial stability, chances are you do not impact the people, right? Because no margin, no mission. And then if you don't have the financial stability, that means you don't create financial freedom. And if you don't have the financial stability, you don't build the team that gives you your time freedom. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's all connected. We can't afford to be in business and not make money. We can't. And so maybe, for you, you're like, well, I'm like, make a decision. There are certain activities that we engage in to create revenue, and we can be in resistance and decide not to do them. We can decide we don't know how to do them, which we could learn. We can decide we're uncomfortable doing this. Pretend I give you a big hug, and then I'm telling you, who cares? Nobody cares what you think is comfortable. In business, we're entrepreneurs. We do what is required. We have over 500 episodes of the EntreMD podcast. You cannot possibly believe that every single time it was comfortable for me to do it, but who cares? This is what is required. We do what is required, right? And so I want you to we master the skill, we do the skill, we overcome the mindset drama around it and all of that stuff, and we go get it done. We have so many doctors who start as employed physicians who are running multi-seven-figure practices, right? Because this can be learned. And then the fourth thing we focus on is building a profitable team, because the prize for bigger impact, bigger financial freedom, bigger time freedom is a profitable team, right? One is too small a number for greatness. Okay? So people are like, you are everywhere. How do you do all these things? The answer is I don't. I have teams in every company. In fact, I'm at a stage where I will not start a project until I have somebody who will be the arrowhead for that project. I have teams everywhere. Even in homeschooling, I have teams help you with that, right? So profitable team. No team, no time freedom, no exit. We're married to our businesses. We're slaves to our businesses. In fact, we have jobs. Okay. But I want to say the most important thing that I'm going to say on this podcast, which is this. Many people over the next 12 months are going to wish for a different outcome. They're going to wish for things to be better. In fact, some of them will set goals and make it pretty and make vision boards and make them pretty, saying, oh, this is going to be my best year, all of those kind of things. I don't want you to wish. When you listen to the EntreMD podcast, I want you to decide. And the difference between wishing and deciding is the person who wished would like to have that. The person who decides is going to make it happen, which means they will become who they need to be to pull off the results. They will do what they need to do to pull off the result. And if they don't know how to do the thing, they will learn the thing. Wishing will not get us anywhere. We've been alive enough to know. I want you to look back and think like the things you've just, it would be nice if this happens and all. No, the things that happen are the things you decided this is going to happen. This is happening. So I want to invite you to decide. And if you are someone who's made a decision and you've also been on the fence about the EntreMD Business School, please hear me. A lot of people come into the school after thinking about it for two years. And I will tell you what every single one of them says. I wish I joined sooner. I wish I joined sooner. When I started off as an entrepreneur, I wish I had the EntreMD Business School, but I didn't. And I am telling you, first of all, it is a container led by somebody who's a practitioner, someone who has navigated the 2008 crisis, because that's when I started my private practice, navigated the pandemic, right? So that was 2020, navigated the Great Resignation, and is navigating whatever this is. And that mentor is still winning. That mentor is still pushing ahead. That mentor, you've watched that mentor be consistent over the last 7 years, be consistent in EntreMD, pushing, talking to doctors, supporting them, growing, holding them to higher standards, getting bigger and bigger results. That container, the EntreMD Business School, has a proven track record. A track record of doctors who come in and they're winning. Whether they're coaches, whether they have products, whether they have direct care, cash pay private practices, whether they have insurance-based private practice, whether they're entrepreneurs. We have seen every single one of these ones win. And then third, it is at an investment that does not make sense, because if you went to get an MBA that promises you a raise, they do not promise you a profitable business. They do not tell you we're helping you build a profitable business. They tell you we are helping you. And on average, people get jobs for this amount. Well, you already have that amount. Okay. When I went to do it at the university by me, $120,000. EntreMD Business School, $30,000 for a year. That would change your life forever. Forever, right? Like, for instance, I'm going to record a book, and the book is a vehicle that gives me what I want. What do I want? I want to help 1,000 doctors make their first or next 7 figures in revenue. That's what I want to do. There is no MBA program trying to do that. Okay. And I'm creating a book that will be the vehicle. Go read the book, come into the EntreMD Business School, where we workshop the book all year long and keep getting better and better and getting bigger wins and bigger wins. And yes, right? So that's the deal. So go book your call, entremd.com/call. Okay. Book your call. It is time. It is time for you to take your business and, more importantly, yourself to the next level. And we don't want you to build a business. When you're done building the business, you're like, okay, this is what happened. We want you to build a business that is a vehicle. We want you to build a business that is a vehicle for ever increasing impact, ever increasing financial freedom, and ever increasing time freedom. This is called a win-win-win situation, because your clients or your patients win, you win, your family wins, your community wins, your industry wins, your team wins. Everybody is winning in this model. And it puts you in a position where I hope, like me, you'll say, it's never worked in my business, because I go there and I have fun. I go there, I work hard, right? I deal with challenges, I do all of those things, but it's so enjoyable because you're not waiting to the end to say, oh, this was my legacy. Every day you go to work, you are building your legacy. That is what I wish for you more than many, many, many things. And so come into the EntreMD Business School, entremd.com. Let's work on this together. Okay. But regardless, I've given you enough stuff for you to start building, but don't build a business that's a waste of time. Don't build a business that only gives you revenue, but does not give you legacy. Build a business prioritizing your priorities. So at the end of the day, you're like, this is the best thing that ever happened to me, being an entrepreneur. I'm not like an entrepreneur. My life is all connected, and it's all connected in the most beautiful way. Okay. All right. So prioritize your priorities. Share this episode with the doctors in your world, because my goodness, can you imagine if we all built businesses like this, how amazing it will be? And if you missed any of the 5 areas of focus, I want you to just go back the last few weeks, listen to the last 4 episodes, and I'll see you on the next episode of the EntreMD podcast.